You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Well, let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Industry, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 14th day of September 2017. Well, we did it. We made it through Wednesday, and we are on that downward slide into the weekend. Before you know it, it will be here. Everybody's been working for the weekend, so hope you got great plans. Hope you're having a great Thursday wherever you are. Thanks for joining us. If you're returning, welcome back. If this is your first time, a very special welcome to you. We're so glad to have you with us. I have a chart up of the S&P 500 E-mini futures. If you cannot see the chart, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. Within 30 seconds, you'll be registered all the way through the end of the month. You only register once per month, and you'll get an email each day an hour before the show starts, and that gives you one-click access. Join the show whenever you're ready. Okay. The other way to view the show is to go to our YouTube live stream channel, youtube.com/CFRN/live. There's a chat box in both places, which gives you access to the host, the guests, and our global audience. So if you got something you want to share, by all means, type it in the chat box. Nobody sees what you type, but myself, Michael, but that's what matters, is we see it, and we can share it with the audience. So whether it's a question, a thought, an idea, an opinion, a rant, a rave, we're always happy to hear from you. Now, this morning on the S&P 500, price finally made it up to this week's highest weekly trading zone. 2496 / 2495/96. So we ran into it here and here. I was thinking we hadn't hit it yet, but we did. It was early on in the week that we came close, and then we hit it on the 12th. Today's 14th. Backed off, and then we hit it again, and we hit it again. So it's served as very good resistance for us all week. Unfortunately, we can't seem to get back down to the zone below it, which is it's a big zone. So we were expecting some volatility this week, and we got the opposite, which is, I guess, no volatility. The VIX is at its lowest reading in years. So 81.82, does that cover, is that the entire week? See, the week started on Sunday night the 10th, right here, where we had a gap higher open. So 81.82, and below that was 74.75, so that one's correct. So we gapped higher Sunday night into this zone, 24.75, consolidated, legged up, and these are 30-minute candles, so in an hour we got to the zone overhead, consolidated there, and we've just been bumping our head up against the ceiling at 95, 96 all week. Question is does this bring us back here? Now tomorrow's Friday, and as Michael mentioned in the live training room this morning, what would be unusual is to see the week close above 96. It's also a little bit surprising that since we got as far as we did, well, yeah, by Tuesday, that we didn't see a deeper sell-off. So there's certainly buying pressure in the market. We're up at historic all-time highs, and with all that's going on in the world, I think it's more of, buyers are hesitant to buy, sellers are hesitant to sell, and so we get this gridlock. Let's take a look at the numbers around the world and see what's happening in all the markets. Starting here at home in the cash markets, the US markets, the Dow is up 13 points, NASDAQ is down 18 points, S&P 500 is down 3 points, and the Russell 2000 is flat. In the commodity basket, crude oil up 84 cents. That's about 1 3/4%, and trading 50.14 last. Gold, green for the first time in 3 days, up $1.10, trading 13.29.10 last. In the Asian markets, color of the day there is definitely red. The Nikkei down 58 points, Shanghai down 13, and the Hang Seng down 116. No movers, no shakers, but in the red. Europe, FTSE closed the session down 84 points. That's a little over 1%. The DAX down 13 points, and the CAC up 11. And the FTSE is the only mover and shaker across all of the markets, really. Things are quiet. They've been pretty quiet all week. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. Let's see what kind of news we have tomorrow that might move the markets. Take a quick peek at that. The economic calendar that I personally use is at investing.com. Right up on the header, you simply click Economic Calendar. And I like this one because it gives you all of the economic events around the world, which benefits those who trade the Globex session, those who trade the London Open. Now let me jump to tomorrow. There we go. Alright, the first high impact tomorrow comes out of Russia at 6:30 a.m. They have an interest rate decision. And then we have high impact here in the U.S. at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, core retail sales. That can move the markets. At 8:30 we have retail sales. We've got core retail and then just retail sales. So those are the two high impacts tomorrow morning. Other than that, tomorrow is going to be a pretty quiet news day. Now let me jump back to today. And China had their interest rate decision, or no, Switzerland had their interest rate decision today. And in the U.S. we had core CPI, which came in as expected at 0.2%. And then tonight there are no high impacts on the Globex session. So if you're looking for news to move the market, keep looking, because I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. Now, this Equifax thing, the FTC is investigating the Equifax hack. Now, that's the Federal Trade Commission. A little bit odd for them to be investigating, but they are. The FTC typically does not even comment on their ongoing investigations. However, in light of the intense public interest and the potential impact of the matter, I can confirm that FTC staff is investigating the Equifax breach. That's from a spokesman in an email statement according to Bloomberg and Politico. Equifax last week reported a massive data breach, saying hackers may have accessed the personal details, including names and social security numbers, of more than 143 million consumers from mid-May to July. Equifax, which said it learned of the breach in late July. We got notified last week, but they were made aware of it in late July. Said credit card numbers for about 209,000 people and certain documents for another 182,000 were also accessed. The disclosure was swiftly met with criticism because of the delay in alerting the public to the hack, as well as problems with the website that Equifax set up for people to check to find out if their details were at risk. And then here's where it gets ugly. 3 senior executives dumped almost $2 million worth of Equifax stock days after the company learned of the breach. An emailed statement from the credit monitoring agency said the executives had no knowledge of the breach beforehand. Yeah, tell that to Martha Stewart. On Wednesday, Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia asked the Federal Trade Commission to examine the recent hack of Equifax. He requested an investigation into the firm's cybersecurity practices and questioned its response to consumers who may have been affected by the breach. Equifax's stock is down 2% today, or at the open it was. Shares are down about 30% since the news broke last week, which helps you understand why the gentleman at the top wanted to sell their stock before the news hit the fan. And hit the fan it did. Tesla's coming out with a big rig, an 18-wheeler. An electric semi-trailer will debut in Hawthorne, California on October 26th. Elon Musk tweeted, "Worth seeing this beast in person. It's unreal." Tesla first teased images of the truck in June. It is rumored to have a working range of 200 to 300 miles, which could be a sign that Tesla was specifically targeting the regional trucking market. Traditional diesel big rigs can travel up to 1,000 miles on a single tank of fuel. A 200 to 300 mile electric range would be consistent with existing battery technology, according to Reuters' August 24th report, though it remains to be seen what the Tesla truck's real world range will be and just how much cargo it can carry. But if Elon calls it a beast, then I'm sure a beast it is. Okay. The big fail at the Apple presentation the other day when they brought out the new $1,000 phone, and the face recognition, some reports say failed during the demonstration, and then I saw an article this morning that said, no, it didn't. Bitcoin's down, Ethereum's up. We'll talk more about that later in the show. Right now, let's get over to Michael, get a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. We do have a partners meeting tonight, so partners, will see you there at 9 p.m. Eastern. And if you've been on the trial or been attending the free house and you want to be in the partners meeting tonight, you do need to become a partner. And if you haven't received an email telling you how to do that, just reach out to us, support@cfrn.net, or call us at 949-423-6464. Or as the cool kids say, 949-42-E-Mini. Hello, Mike.
Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
I am okay.
They get started building on the house yet?
No, we should have the foundation plan tomorrow, and once we get that, then we're going to order the walls and the foundation, and that might take 3 weeks. So we're going to have there's a whole, we've got to schedule things out, and Jada right now is trying to manage scheduling all the things that are going to take time, like 3 weeks or whatever. Like, I mean, the blueprints, we gave that guy a deposit last week, and he's going to have the foundation plan hopefully tomorrow, so we can get the walls started and the foundation. And then from there, we got the roofers, and we already, well, not the roofers, the framers, and we already know who's going to do that, and we're going to make sure that his schedule is clear, and we figure it'll take probably 2 weeks to get that done, and then it's just all the inside work. And so it's a process. But the insurance company finally released some money to Jada's parents yesterday, so that's good. They can pay for all the stuff that's been done already, all the demo. And right now it's just a big hole in the ground, and everything, the foundation and everything last week. So it's a process. It's a process. And now Jada wants to build her own house. Now that she's gotten started. So we'll see.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I'll hit mute on this end and let you have at it.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 14th day of September 2017. Let's see. Today, well, first, if you have not taken a free trial with us, then you just need to go to the homepage at cfrn.net. Right up here in the top, this thing's going to drop down. This thing says sign up for the CFRN live training room. 100% free trial. User indicators, learn our strategy. Click here. Once you click there, it's going to bring you to this page. Right here. It's going to bring you to this page. And all we need is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Hit the submit button. And once you do that, it will bring you, why did I do that? Once you do that, it will bring you to, it will send you a confirmation link. You have to click on the confirmation link. Okay. Habits. Once you click on that confirmation link, then we will know that you took the free trial. And we will be happy to send you all the information you need to get into the live training room in the morning. Okay. All right. Next, recap. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you can read all the CFTC risk disclosure stuff down at the bottom. Okay, today is the 14th day of September, and today we made 16 ticks in the euro, 6 ticks in the Russell, 1 tick in crude, and we lost 8 ticks in gold. So we ended with plus 60 on the morning. Today, it took 14 minutes and 2 trades to get to $105 a contract, and we took a total of 5 opportunities this morning. As Dwayne said, the market's been pretty flat. I missed about 5 or 6 this morning while I was doing other things. 5 or 6 opportunities. So on the month now, we're at 1265. That's over 9 days, averaging 140 per day. And on the year, we're at 26,127. That's over 173 days, averaging 151 per day. 151 per day. Okay, 151 per day. All right. Next, we'll show you what happened. Okay, so this is gold. And you see there was some good action right here in gold in the pre-market. If you go back to 8:30, when all that news came out, you'll see there was a lot of action. You see right here, from 8:30 to 8:33, we had all these bars. One of the partners this morning asked in the live training room, how much time does it take to paint a bar? Well, here it took, well, all of these were painted in the same second. All those were painted in the same second. Okay, from right here all the way over to here. Right there. We're all painted in the same second. Okay, and then you can see it slowed down and there was some pretty good action in the pre-market. Okay, we missed this first one right here in the morning. I wish we would have gotten it because we could have gotten our goal for the day with that one, but we didn't. We missed it, and then we stopped out here toward the end of the session. Right here, we had one stop out, and it's been flat since then. Okay, and on the euro, we had right here our first opportunity on the euro was plus 12. There was another one right there, another one right there. We missed both of those, and this one, and this one. So all the ones we missed here on the euro were winning trades. And then we grabbed this for 4 ticks to put us at plus 16 on the morning. Richard, I cannot answer that. Let's see. There was no trade here because the black step line had crossed below the BPC. And during the break, yeah, there was a long trade right here. A long trade right there. Okay. And now there's nothing over here. Okay. Crude oil. Let's see, we missed one opportunity here on crude that was a winning opportunity, and one here that was also a winning opportunity. This one right here we got one tick profit on. All right. Then we changed directions, and let's see, right there the black step line crossed up above the BBC, so that would have disqualified any shorting opportunity here. Once we broke dynamic support, there was a short there. Okay, and possibly another one there. All right, on the Russell, we missed this one right here. We missed that one, and we got this one right here for +6. We missed that one, which was, that would have been a stop out. That's the only one that we missed that would have stopped out of the 5 or 6 trades that we missed. That one would have stopped out. The other ones were all winning trades. Let's see. Here, I'm just looking at the cycle down here and seeing if we had any opportunity there on the cycle, and we really, just this one right here would have been the only shot at it right there. Okay. If you're doing the 164s, there was a 164 right here. That would have been this leg down. Yeah, there was also one right here. That would have been that leg up if you stuck it out. All right, on the ES, as Dwayne pointed out a few minutes ago, the ES is pulled back up to this weekly trading zone. Now, this is the highest zone of the week, and it's been hovering at this highest zone of the week all week, and that is really unusual. It's happened like twice in the last 5 years, that it would go up to the highest zone early in the week and stay there. Okay, what I would anticipate is a big move down off of the highest zone by the end of the day tomorrow. But again, it's rollover week, and it has not been normal since the new contract became available last week, a week ago today. It has not been like it usually is. Okay, we didn't highlight any opportunities here this morning on the ES. The NQ, hang on, John, let me see if I have an NQ chart open. I don't have an NQ chart open. I can open them now. Yeah. Let's see. Here it is right here, NQZ7 chart. Okay. Now I'm going to put it on the 4-tick range. Okay, so starting at 9:30, once it loads up all the data, there would have been a short here, a short here, a short here. Then we changed directions, and looks like there would have been a long right here that would have stopped you out. Change directions, and then we change directions again. Would have been another long right here for that leg up. And we change directions. Break even there. Change directions again. Would have been a long there for that leg up. Then in here, the cycle goes back and forth quite a bit in here, so it would have been choppy, and we would have stayed out of that. We would have waited until we got like up here, and then we would have had nothing right there. Along here for that little leg, then nothing there, along there for that leg, then we change directions again, and we would have had a short there, and another short here, and we would have skipped that because the cycle wasn't right. We would have skipped that because the cycle wasn't right, all the way down to here, and we would have had another short in there, another short in there, and we'd be looking for a pullback right now. Yeah, the NQ is a fast move market. On a 4-tick range, it's really fast. You know, if you're gonna trade the NQ using our stuff, you might want to use an 8-tick range instead of a 4-tick range, because it'll be easier for you to execute your trades. It's all the same. You just have to double the risk, and doubling the risk on the NQs goes to $80 instead of $40 risk. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, Pete. And so that is that. Now, back to the spreadsheet. Today is the 14th day of September. Today we made 16 ticks on the euro, 6 ticks on the Russell, 1 tick on crude, and we lost 8 ticks in gold. So we got to $60 at the end today. At the high of the day, we're at 135, I think. You're welcome, John. Good afternoon, Pete. And so today it took 14 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day, and we took a total of 5. All right, so on the month now we're at 1265. That's over 9 days, averaging 140 per day. On the year, we are at 26,127. That's over 173 days, averaging 151 per day. Okay. If you're going to read this, you read all the CFTC risk disclosure stuff down at the bottom. Now, to take our free trial, go to the home page here at cfrn.net. And right here at the top, it says sign up for the CFRN live training room. 100% free trial. User indicators aren't a strategy. Click here. When you click there, you're going to be brought to this page. In here, you just have to put in your email, put in your first name, and then just say, how did you find us? Tell us if you found us with a Google ad, with just a Google search, however you did it. Just let us know. Okay, that will help us in the future. All right, and that's it. Okay, with that, I can send it back out to Studio A, fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. How was that?
Sounds
pretty
good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just sent you an email.
Okay.
And might not make sense to you at first. It's the second phone number down.
Okay. I still haven't gotten it yet, but...
Oh, that's right. I have a 30-second delay when I send.
You do?
Yeah. You just go to Labs, and if it's a feature you turn on.
Oh.
So that
Okay.
once you hit send, if you realize you forgot something or want to change something,
Undo it.
it gives you a chance to, grab it before it goes. Anyway, recap of the recap.
Today it took 14 minutes and 2 trades to get to $105 per contract.
14 minutes, 2 trades.
2 trades.
And although we continue trading for the entire 2 hours, guys, because that's what we're committed to doing from 9:30 to 11:30 every day, what we teach you in the mentoring program is that once you have your goal for the day, you take the money and put the mouse away. Okay? And that's difficult sometimes for people who have a very good work ethic. You've worked hard all your life, you're not a stranger to 8, 10, 12-hour days. So you get up and you're all raring to go, and 9:30 the bell goes off, and by 10 a.m. you're done for the day. First few times that happens to you, it leaves you feeling a little, I don't know, empty, anticlimactic, I don't know. It's definitely something you have to get used to, because the sheer fact that you just made your goal for the day in 30 minutes, the last thing in the world you want to do is put the mouse away. So it takes discipline. It really does. Something that you have to work at. And it's for a reason, because how many times, Michael, have we got the goal just like this, in a very short period of time, just a few trades, And then, you know, by continuing to trade until 11:30, because that's what we're committed to doing, we end up, you know, with less or break even or even negative for the day, because we continue to trade.
It happens. It happens. You know,
and so that's
just going through
why we teach that.
That is why. And not only that, but you know, trading can be stressful. You know, it shouldn't be. It should be just, you know, it should be boring to you, and you're just doing the same thing over and over again. But in the beginning, I know a lot of new traders feel stress when they're trading, and you know, you need to have confidence and get through that period, get through the stress, and you know, just reaching your goal early on and being done, that builds confidence and it reduces stress. So that's another aspect. I still don't have that email.
Oh, it's because I never hit send.
Yeah. There's more than a 30-second delay then.
Yeah. So
that's like a forever delay.
Yep. You know, guys, here it is December of last year. I gave you my top stock pick for 2017, and it tripled on us, and then it pulled back to a double, and that's kind of where it's set for most of the year. There's been a number of things going on in the background, behind the scenes, but management has continued to press forward, and there's a press release out today. Santa Fe Gold announces acquisition of 2 silver mining companies. And I'm not going to read the entire thing, but basically, pleased to announce it has acquired 100% of Bullard's Peak Corporation and Blackhawk Consolidated Mines Company, which includes formerly optioned AG1 Silver Mine and all lands surrounding the project, to include potential periphery silver discovery and all rights the same. Company has already initiated all of the processes to begin production as soon as possible. Now, the CEO, again, I have said since I first brought it to your attention and made the research report available, that the CEO, I think, is positioning the company to become a takeover target for one of the major mining companies. He got these 2 companies for $3 million. They've already paid $1.5 and they expect to complete purchase within the next few months. Purchase of the properties includes 2% royalty on the net smelter returns in perpetuity. Man, this guy knows how to do a deal. The property is located in the southwestern U.S., comprise 13 patented and 81 unpatented claims, estimated to contain upwards of 3 million tons of unusually high-grade deposits and multiple vein structures, which, according to recently completed assays, suggest that some ore vein values could be in the thousands of dollars per ton range. Negotiations with buyers ready to pay such amounts per ton of ore delivered from the mine site are ongoing. The president and CEO, Tom Laws, commented in the press release, "These are exceptional acquisitions for Santa Fe that will now control highly prospective lands in one of the most highly mineralized zones anywhere on Earth, with particularly high concentrations of silver, including presences of," listen to this, "near pure silver nuggets in the upper zones near the surface. Given the dimension and extent of the vein structure, we believe this will be a flagship property for Santa Fe that can be brought into production relatively quickly, and procedures are already underway to begin production as quickly as possible. The main silver mine and potential periphery silver deposit beneath represent tremendous upside potential and value for Santa Fe, which is estimated to contain at least 135 million ounces of silver, and depending upon the extent of the periphery deposit, could add as much as 250 million ounces potentially valuing the property well into the billions of dollars. Proprietary surveillance methods have recently revealed extraordinary high concentrations of silver and gold in these deposits, consistent with other veins in the region. In recounting the uniqueness of this property, CEO Tom Laws emphasized he has never seen anything like it anywhere before in his more than 40-year career in mining, and after intense negotiations over many months with a favorable outcome, makes it one of our most important accomplishments to have been able to consummate this deal for the benefit of shareholders. He goes on to say, our growing portfolio of highly sought-after properties with more to come demonstrates the strong commitment, dedication, and confidence in the future of Santa Fe Gold, as management is intent on building the company to new heights and continues to progress towards a restart of production per our previously announced plans around asset acquisitions and production ramp up at a particularly opportunistic time for gold, silver, and precious metals. As commented previously, the area in general and its surroundings has an uncommon history of exceptionally high grades, as borne out by previous discoveries reported by Santa Fe in 2012, where assays showed bonanza-type high grades of 7.73 ounces of gold per ton and 269 ounces per ton of silver. While such exceptionally high grades are rare and could be considered as an anomaly, they do prove that such grades exist. Historic mining of the Malone Mines complex uncovered similar high grades, showing as borne out with grades reportedly as high as 16 ounces per ton at one time encountered in the highest yielding mine areas of the complex, which Santa Fe now has under its control, where some 80% of all the gold discovered in New Mexico has been found. 80% of all the gold ever discovered in New Mexico, this is where it was found. Now, the financials, regrettably, the earlier anticipated release of financials was set back by the severe impact of Hurricane Harvey and unprecedented flooding in Houston and other coastal areas of Texas. The release of quarterly and annual financials can be expected to be rolled out forthwith, and the company will then be up to date and compliant and eligible for higher exchange listing. So, you gotta tune that bell. That's a very good bit of news. You know, these things never happen as quickly as you want them to, but given time, with the proper management, it can happen. I brought up this other company the other day, BTCS, which was once Bitcoin Shops, and it was trading at a dime with a $37 price target. Oh, by the way, Santa Fe has a price target. You can find it on Yahoo Finance of, I think it was 64 cents. Yeah, I think it was 64 cents was the price target. The 1 year price target. I'll have to go back and find it. But anyway, this company, I said I was going to do some research into this BTCS because I want to find out why a company trading at a dime has a analyst following it and a price target of $37. This was the first company that was a pure Bitcoin play to go public. I found this non-binding letter of intent, which is dated August 22nd. Publicly traded Bitcoin miner BTCS has signed a non-binding letter of intent to merge with Blockchain Global Limited in order to fill a talent void, according to the SEC. Blockchain Global operates a Bitcoin mine in China and a Bitcoin exchange in Australia called AXC. The company recently invested in Bitcoin firm Digital X through a convertible loan denominated only in Bitcoin. BTCS attempted to merge with Israel-based miner Spoondooley's Tech in 2015, but the deal fell apart when an Israeli court dissolved Spoondooley's
You think you want to
due
skip this
to...
ad, but then you'd miss this.
Oh, there's one of those mystery
Amazing
ads
custom
popping up. Hang
alert
on.
that monitors the market in your positions so you can get live.
You gotta get a browser that doesn't allow those to come up. The company recently invested in Bitcoin firm Digital X. BTCS attempted to merge with Spoondooley's Tech, an Israeli company, but it fell apart when an Israeli court dissolved Spoondooley's due to financial problems, according to CoinDesk. BTCS raised $1 million earlier this year to erase some of their losses and shore up their financials. Maryland-based BTCS stock traded down 8% at Monday's close. Shares have fallen 36% since the start of the year. So, two companies trading at roughly the same price, Santa Fe, BTCS. One I have great knowledge of and great confidence in management. The other, BTCS, a shot in the dark, man. I have no idea. Do your own due diligence. I tried calling the company yesterday and they said send us an email. We can't handle all the phone calls. That's what the recording said. Well, I've already tried emailing them and didn't hear back, so that's not really a good sign. But take it for what it's worth. Now, anyone who is interested in Santa Fe, if you want a copy of the 150-page research report that we made available to our audience last December, that has disclosures of, what shares I own in the company, etc., and that's one page. The other 149 pages are the actual research report. Send an email to gold@cfrn.net and I will forward you a copy of the report. So, that is good news. And I see that we got John on the line. So let me open up his mic. There we go. John, welcome to the show if you're there.
Hello.
Right there.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hello.
How are you? I was just reading the Santa Fe press release.
Hello.
Yeah, John, we can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I told you I got a complicated switch on this thing, and it.
Yeah, no. We can hear you good.
Haywire.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Thanks for the comments on on Santa Fe there a while ago. That was very interesting, and well done from you. Thank you very much.
Great press release.
It's look. There's a lot more to come as per the release, and this is just the kind of opening salvo for the quarter. And as it's been disclosed before, there's quite a pipeline of announcements coming, and all being well, the financials are expected to roll out in the near future. By the way, it wasn't made clear in the announcement, but the auditors are based in Houston, and they were unable to get their office. They couldn't get to their offices, and some of them didn't even have power at home to do any work, so it was very difficult. And it did put. I mean, I think we'd be almost up to date by now if it hadn't been for that hurricane. Incidentally, the Irma is just unbelievable. The devastation in Florida and in the Caribbean. It's just absolutely catastrophic. I don't think we've ever seen it. I mean, it's like Hurricane Andrew all over again, almost to the power of 10, in terms of how many, how far reaching it has been across, probably a dozen islands. and affecting, look, the British Virgin Islands are just decimated. And it does, even if you got, and the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. I mean, St. Thomas, there's a lot of pretty fancy homes in St. Thomas worth millions and millions of dollars, and some of them are wrecked, completely wrecked. Just
gone.
Just gone. Yeah. So it's
how are the insurance companies responding to all this? Do you have to have special hurricane insurance or tropical storm?
You can get insurance in the Caribbean, but it's probably gone up a lot lately to get new insurance. And look, for a while, probably it was a kind of a routine thing because there happened. There's been look. I think we've been very lucky over the last dozen years since Katrina. Where we really haven't had too many, we had a couple of bad storms. We had Sandy and a few others in the last 10 years, but we didn't have the kind of 90s. There was a lot more hurricanes in the 90s, and all this nonsense about global warming. It's just it's a lot of hogwash. As I've said many times, the effluent coming out of volcanoes is far worse than anything that humans have ever put out or are likely to pull out. And since even there's a lot less human effluent coming out today than ever before, it's in a way, look, if as usually in a hurricane season, a very severe hurricane season, you tend to get very cold winters thereafter. If we get a really, really cold winter, I think that's going to kill the global warming argument once and for all. And it might lead to cooler summers in the next few years. We're going into a sort of 15-year window where, potentially we're going into a mini ice age. And in a way, if there has been global warming, it may have saved us from being in a much deeper freeze than might be likely to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. But the last few years, I mean, the Great Lakes freezing over is not something that happens every year, but it's happened in the last few years. The Hudson and everything else. There has been, and in Europe and in Russia, it's been incredibly cold, and Japan. I mean, so I think something happened in Japan that hadn't happened in 50 years. Forget what it was now, but it was something really, really something. I think Tokyo froze over. It's got. We could be in for a really, really cold winter. Incidentally, today, per our remarks, the oil has broken 50, and the Brent is at 55. We haven't seen a $5 premium on oil for a long, long time on globe. So the price of global oil today is $55 a barrel. West Texas is 50, and that's when you get a big premium in the Brent over West Texas. That's usually pretty bullish. The market ran up. We're pulling back a little bit here right now in all the products, etc. But I think the next, if we start going, if the next week there's a drawdown in the crude, which could be, I was a little surprised to see we had a surplus, about 6 million or so last week, but I think that was because the refineries were shut down and just they weren't shipping the oil to the refineries because why they couldn't do it, couldn't handle it. So you had a sort of you've got the ships waiting offshore, and you've got the platforms not producing for a week or two. It's very hard to sort of figure out how that's going to play out here in the next few weeks. But I mean, we're getting the middle of September right now. There's only about 6 weeks before it starts to get really cold. So if we can maintain, and by the way, the oil stocks rather are going up pretty dramatically today. We put sell stops on them near the highs a while ago, and they are pulling back. But the interesting thing is the stocks are going up for the first time in months, and that's a pretty good sign that the market is anticipating being able to make more money than it has in the last 6 months. And if you think about it, we've been basically hemmed in between the low 40s and the high 40s, which is not a very good price for a lot of oil companies to be actually making money, and that's one of the reasons why the stocks have not performed that well.
Yeah, this was a huge move up in crude today, but now we're getting a pullback.
Yeah. I think the next you'd probably want to be looking to buy this pullback, given the strong move we've had. It's kind of like the grains. I said we were going to have a strong day in the grains today. And remember I said yesterday, if it nips it in the bud, it's going to be really bullish, because we were down on the lows literally 24 hours ago. Or sorry, 48 hours ago, because I wasn't on yesterday.
Yeah, when the WASD came out,
yeah, exactly,
hit it hard.
Exactly. And so what we've got is we've basically got a market going up on bad news. That's really bullish when that happens, and kind of fits with my comments that we could be in for a big fall rally, which potentially sets us up for a strong year in 2018. And if you remember 2007, when the market topped out, a year later we had the mother of all commodities booms, and the following 3 years after that into 2011, we basically had a very strong commodity sector for 4 years. So I think that's what lies ahead for the commodity markets in the very near future. The gold and silver may have put in the lows today. I definitely would be buying them if they get above sort of 1331, and if the silver gets up above sort of 1785, we start going to new highs on the day. I think that would be very positive. Copper really got hammered from the highs. We actually sold the copper up around 315 and be short all the way down here. We got a buy stop just above the market. So and the same thing happened on the cotton. The cotton actually had a bit of a rally yesterday, I think, yeah, and then sold off again this morning. It seems to be getting into support here around the 68 level. And sugar is kind of, I could definitely be ready to jump on board sugar. It's been sort of sideways here, and if it starts breaking out to the upside, you want to be long sugar, because they're probably assessing the crop damage in Cuba right now. And given how bad things were in Cuba and how bad this whole storm is, I think the reports might be coming in that there's more damage than expected on the sugar. And the lumber also is starting to trade higher again. And just like Andrew in 92, what happened in 92 was the market went limit up in lumber, and then it kind of pulled back. And remember, we did have a limit move in lumber like a week ago, before we kind of pulled back a bit. And then the market started, realizing how widespread the damage was, given the amount, the number of houses that are being destroyed, which is in the hundreds of thousands now, damaged or destroyed. I think the lumber price is going to go higher here. I think you got to seriously contemplate being long the lumber, especially if the stronger it closes today, the more long you want to be, just in case. Because if we come in tomorrow morning and it's limit up, it's too late. Not necessarily too late. You can still buy it at limit up sometimes, but I think if we go limit up here in the next day or two, or maybe by the end of the week, that could be, the beginning of a sort of a mania for lumber prices, like the likes of which we haven't seen since the 90s. or we've seen some good moves up in lumber. I mean, we almost went up to new all-time highs in lumber in the last few years, but lumber has been kind of consolidating in a higher range, so it's certainly not beyond the possibility of breaking out here and making new all-time highs in lumber. You can't rule that out anymore, for sure.
Speaking of lumber, what do you think is going to happen with the real estate market here in the coming years? Some areas got heated up pretty quick and moved pretty fast. Others haven't. And a lot of people are leaving San Francisco because the real estate there because of the tech companies, Silicon Valley. Even some of the tech companies are moving to Arizona because people can, their employees can sell their house in San Francisco, buy a house here, and still have money to put in the bank.
Yeah. Look, when you have a boom, usually it's hard to say. It's interesting. Gene Simmons, there was an article about him. He's looking for 23,000 on the Dow, and I'd kind of be inclined to agree with him because this tax cut is gathering momentum, and by the way, Trump's popularity did go up a couple of points since yesterday. So I think with all that's going on, maybe with the Dreamers thing, he might earn a few more points here in the next few days. So we'll see how it plays out. But the one good thing that is happening today that is pretty bullish is the semiconductors are making new record highs, new all-time highs, and Intel, which has been kind of a bit of a dog up until now, is starting to look like it could break out to the upside, might even make new all-time highs. And Microsoft is extremely solid and strong, and is sort of edging up every day. And I'd say Microsoft's probably going to break out on this next earnings. Most likely could spike higher, because they've been doing everything right recently. Their new notebooks, the new campaign is very strong, and they certainly have entered the notebook at a very late stage, but they've got some of the best products out there right now. In a lot of areas. And
have you seen any of the reviews of this new iPhone, the X model, it starts at $999? Well,
that's an interesting thing. I mean, the fact that Apple has pricing power, and it's sort of like a prestige item. It's kind of like the Rolls-Royce of cell phones now, you could say, and people will pay a premium for them.
I read a review yesterday on the show from a guy who was in Cupertino for the unveiling of the different. They introduced 3 new phones and a new watch. You can make phone calls on the watch now without having your phone.
Interesting. Yeah.
But this one guy, they allowed him to play with the iPhone X for a few minutes, and he said, absolutely, it's worth $1,000. So
yeah, it looks extremely cool, and it's really a work of art. It's beautiful.
Well, it's a computer that is just that you also can make an old-fashioned phone call on if you want to.
Yeah.
But really, what you're carrying is a computer in your pocket, and it has this. The screen is supposed to be really nice. The cameras are really nice. The processor's faster. But
I mean, the interesting thing about putting the $1,000, this could blow out the earnings on that. This explains why the stock's been moving up as much as it has.
Well, analysts say that that if the iPhone X catches on, if people are willing to spend $1,000, that it could make Apple the first $1 trillion publicly traded company.
Look, there's a tremendous amount of keeping up with the Joneses. sort of a prestige item. If you don't have the latest, the iPhone 10, you're not in the game. And so look, $1,000 isn't that big of a deal for anybody to put together. And if they want it badly enough, they're going to find a way to get it. So no matter where they live, even in India. And by the way, you see this survey that came out where they asked all these different countries, how badly, how bad life would be without the net, without the internet. Mm-hmm. And I mean, India, with its sprawling millions of very poor people, unfortunately, and also a big middle class now, 300 million plus, and the ultra-rich elite as well. India is the #1 country in the world. More than 80% people said they couldn't live without the internet. That is,
I think I read something along those lines. And what's interesting is back in 1996, we moved into an office building in downtown Phoenix, and I got to know one of the other tenants who became good friends, and he and his business partner, they had a contract from the government of India to provide wireless internet to the entire country. And now my friend Don, he literally was a rocket scientist. He worked on satellites and all kinds of different things. But I said, guys, come on, everybody in India is, they're poor. I mean, they can't even afford to exist. What good's it going to do to provide wireless internet there? And obviously he was, very forward thinking, and he saw the future. Unfortunately, he left this earth way too early, just out of the blue. He got sick, and before you knew it, he was gone. But what a great guy he was. And his business partner, Chuck, I haven't seen him in years. I don't know if once Don was gone, because Don was the engineer. Chuck was the businessman. Don was the engineer who could actually make it happen. And so I don't know if Chuck ever, moved ahead with that, but he had the agreement. I saw it. And I remember thinking in 96, that's the craziest thing in the world. Somebody just sold them a white elephant, but now look at what you just said.
Yeah.
And people are so dependent in India on the internet, but yet it's slow, it's expensive, but yet, like you said, they can't live without it.
Yeah. Amazing. There was another survey that came out yesterday about expats. Mm-hmm. They're not too keen on the States or the UK anymore. Most people don't want to live in the UK.
Portugal is the #1 expat spot. I saw in a headline the other day.
Yeah, Portugal and Spain, actually. And Portugal is a pretty nice place to live because there's a lot of beautiful little villages, up in the mountains where a lot of people have moved out, away from. But if you have the beauty of life today is if you have, high speed internet and decent communications, you're not too far from an airport. It can be a very nice place to live, and you can pick up places very, very inexpensively. I mean, up until you remember, the Europeans didn't come out of this slump until 13, 14. And, you can pick up a pretty nice looking castle in France up until recently for kind of around $500,000, $1 million.
My wife was showing them to me at $200,000. She used to spend a lot of time. And in Ecuador, you can get a beautiful home up on the cliff overlooking the ocean. I mean, the type of place you would turn into a bed and breakfast or some kind of a training center. I mean, for $150,000, $200,000.
Yeah. Probably not anymore. They may be gone up a bit since then, but still, Europe is pretty good pickings these days, and obviously with the euro being down, when it was down at par with the dollar almost, that was a particularly good time to pick up properties. Even in Ireland, where the property market went from insane back to back to reality, there were some fantastic deals to be made in Ireland a few years ago. I think the prices are back up quite strongly now. But by the way, you know this is Hell Week, don't you?
No, what's that?
Having to put up with Hillary for a week, telling us, 24/7 about why she lost the election and blaming on everybody else. And
oh, this is because her book just came out?
Yeah, right.
What's the name of the book?
What happened?
What happened?
Yeah, I think that's the name. Yeah.
So who does she
Trump
mostly blame?
Everybody, from the Russians to Bernie Sanders, to the Democrats, to her husband. Actually, she didn't blame Bill. I think he got off. But everybody else got the blame. So.
Why do you think she didn't win?
Oh, well, look, she didn't. I mean, look, she wasn't getting the attendance. I mean, nobody was showing up for her speeches. I think she was basically a boring speaker. Speaker. She didn't invigorate the crowds. She didn't have the following. She didn't have a message. And, she was for higher taxes. She just didn't. Look. She had a lot of Hillary lovers and people who were for her no matter what, and there were a lot of them, because she did get a lot of them in California. Put it that way. Mm-hmm. Without California, basically she didn't win the popular vote. Plain and simple. California was kind of an anomaly, and I guess with Trump didn't bother really going over there. If he had gone over there and maybe won over the Californians, it might have been different, but it doesn't matter because he won anyway. And I think if the same election was held today, he'd win the popular vote without any doubt. And I say that with not because I'm just putting my finger in the air, but I think already, look, he's won over most of the military. And as I think I mentioned on this show, that speech he gave to the veterans, you should really listen to that speech, because what he's done for veterans, he's really straightened out this VA hospital system, so the veterans are getting the treatment they deserve these days. And that, I think there'd hardly be a vet out there who wouldn't vote for Trump today. So you could say there's quite a few millions who've gone over to his side. Then you've got, the 1.25 million jobs have been created. That's basically 1.25 million votes. And now with this Dreamer deal, potentially he could get a big increase in the Hispanic vote for saving the Dreamers. So I think it's quite a shrewd move on his part. Now, not everybody may agree with that, but at the end of the day, you got to solve this problem sooner or later. And if he gets the border security he wants, and he gets a wall, look, basically what has to happen is maybe they've got to find, they've got to get a way to legalize everybody who's here. They've got to basically keep track of everybody who's in the country, and tighten up on all the the people who come and don't go back, this sort of thing. And then, draw a line in the sand and say, look, beyond a certain date, maybe it's 2018, 2019, if you don't have papers, or if you're illegal, you're out. You're deported, and that's the end of it. And it becomes a very, very strict protocol thereafter. It's already happening to he's getting rid of all the criminals. But he's not, I don't think he's breaking down doors and just deporting people who are, working or, paying taxes effectively. So, look, this is a very big problem. It's an ongoing problem. It's got to be it's got to be fixed. And the only way to fix it is you have to eventually register everybody who's in the country, and thereafter anybody who's not registered, it's subject to immediate deportation. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be. In other words, not only do you have the border security, but you have a dissuasion. You dissuade people from even bothering to come because, don't forget, a few years down the road, things might be much tighter in terms of being able to surveil people, and therefore, if you're not, and look, this is the same in Europe and England. Why do you think England has a Brexit? Because the people are tired of the wave of immigration, mass immigration that's invaded the country. It's not just the U.S.
Did you? I shared this yesterday on the show, but did you see the comments Jamie Dimon made about Bitcoin being a fraud? That was the term he used.
I did, and it's obviously having an impact on the price of Bitcoin. And if you remember,
now this is coming from a guy, the chief of J.P. Morgan, which, correct me if I'm wrong, J.P. Morgan is the one bank that has paid more billions of dollars in fines for fraudulent activity than every other financial institution in history combined.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this guy is a crook. I think he personally is, heavily behind the manipulation of the prices of gold and silver. And in his comments yesterday, I detected a tone much like Ackerman, the guy who's losing his shirt trying to short Herbalife. He swore that he would take Herbalife to zero, and he has spent so many hours doing his slide deck presentations. And I'm like, this is not how a fund manager normally behaves. It's like they took advantage of his mom or something. There's like some personal grudge, some vendetta. And I got that impression from Dimon's comments about, he said that not only did he think it was a fraud, God, where did it go? I had it right here. Worse than the tulip bulbs, he even went as far as to say he'd fire any trader working for him that transacted it for being stupid.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, I see this as nothing more than, this buying dip as an opportunity. And while Bitcoin is pulling back, Ethereum is trading higher. And I've said all along that I liked Ethereum better than Bitcoin because a lot of the financial institutions are getting behind the Ethereum platform because in certain ways it differs, and it can be used by banks and financial institutions to do much more than just Bitcoin. And then yesterday, what was the news? Let me see if I can find it real quick. GMO buys chips. 10 billion yen. Well, I guess I can just go to my Facebook page because it's on, the news is on that page. Let me just bring it up real quick. For those of you that don't know, on Facebook, if you go to Crypto Daily Info, that is our new page. Like us, follow us. I think we got about 100 followers so far, and it's been up, I think, a week tomorrow, or maybe a week today. But let me get down to this article that I posted last night.
Yeah, by the way, on the Bitcoin, you remember I said that when it came off the 5,000, it reminded me of the silver, and regrettably for the Bitcoin holders, it's kind of tracking the silver decline off the $50 mark. In other words, we were down to about $35, literally within a week or two of the highs in the silver at $50. So it's not a good sign for Bitcoin to have come down this far. You know, because especially now, because now it gets back to 4. If it rallies back to 40, which it could, you know, if it can't get above 4,000 and starts going down again, then you know it's in bigger trouble than most people are willing to acknowledge.
John McAfee of McAfee Antivirus. He's a bit of a wild card in and of himself, but he was on CNBC yesterday, and he called Jamie Dimon an idiot. He goes, he's just a complete idiot. He goes, and he's speaking of his firm, McAfee, he goes, we are the largest Bitcoin miners in America. It costs us $1,000 to mine one coin because of the processing power, the electricity. He said that's what his cost is to mine one coin. He says so.
That's pretty good. They got a built-in return of triple, 3.5-fold right now.
Absolutely. So that's why this press release I posted yesterday. Japanese internet giant GMO plans to enter the Bitcoin mining market. The company has revealed the hardware and performance specifications for its upcoming 7-nanometer process ASIC mining chips, which feature very low power consumption requirements. They're spending 10 billion yen to create their own dedicated Bitcoin chips. At a press conference Wednesday, Japan's GMO Internet unveiled the details of the new mining operation. The company initially announced that the data center would be in Northern Europe. At the press conference on Wednesday, the chairman of GMO Internet and group president further revealed it will be in Scandinavia. The center will be installed in December this year to start testing an operation using existing semiconductor chips. The area offers clean and cheap electricity. So here you have Jamie Dimon calling it a fraud, and here you have these people investing 10 billion yen. At the current conversion rate, 10 billion yen, what's that in dollars? Any idea off the top of your head?
It's $1 billion, $1 billion, I think.
Okay, so
no, it might be 100, maybe 100 million. Sorry, 100 million. It's 100 million.
And yesterday, McAfee on CNBC brought up. He said, "You call Bitcoin a fraud." He goes, "A fraud." He goes, "What's the American dollar?" He goes, What's the value of that? What does it cost to print? If someone were to actually print a dollar, they just move decimal points now, but it would cost, pennies, a dime to print a dollar. He goes, we have to spend $1,000 to create one Bitcoin. He was just that quirky John McAfee that he's been ever since he was involved in that big scandal a while back.
Yeah, he's got a knack for making money, this guy.
Well, he does. He does. But you remember when he was calling from some hotel and said he was being stalked and somebody was trying to kill him? Do you remember all that?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it goes back a while, but yeah, here's his article. Let's see what else he said. Dimon on Tuesday called Bitcoin a fraud that will eventually blow up. McAfee, whose company MGT Capital Investment mines the cryptocurrency, said he respects Dimon and people in his position are not idiots, but he challenged nothing more important criticism. And I'm a Bitcoin miner. We create Bitcoins. It costs over $1,000 per coin to create. What does it cost to create a US dollar? Which one is the fraud? Because it costs whatever the paper costs, but it costs me and other miners over $1,000 a coin. It's called proof of work. Miners invest massive amounts of supercomputing power and electricity in creating Bitcoins. Surely then there is value in creating a Bitcoin.
How do you get to $500,000 in 3 years?
They're using AMD chips, the latest chips from AMD. is they've got this Threadripper. It's called a Threadripper, I think. It's the latest generation. And I think it's 16 core, 32 threads. It's a very, very powerful chip.
McAfee tweeted earlier this summer that Bitcoin would reach $500,000 within 3 years.
You can't rule anything out. I mean, you know, that's you have to. I mean, look, it's gonna. I think it's Bitcoin's latest break. You know, if it gets down to the low 3,000s, 3,200, somewhere like that, 3,250, it might be a buy for a rally up to 4,000. But out, you know, then depending on where it goes after that, will kind of give us a pretty big clue as to whether this thing is going to go to the moon, or whether it's in for further, you know, corrective activity. And it might be because, you know, they're obviously ganging up on Bitcoin, trying to put it out of business, kind of like the silver back in 1987, or 1980 rather.
Well, I'm wondering if Diamond is not somehow short this this Bitcoin, because again, there was something in the way in his tone that he was taking it personal. So I don't know.
Well, he's done all right so far. You know,
it's still the most crowded investment in the world right now, even though price.
Well, that's a pretty good reason to sell it, actually. You know, when that happens.
Yeah, I agree. I understand that, but you know, I think over a month ago, well, maybe almost 2 months ago, Goldman Sachs, who did you know that on average they have 3 to 5 losing trading days per year, and I gotta believe they create those days just so, you know, it doesn't make it too obvious what they're up to. Goldman Sachs a couple months ago said that when Bitcoin hits 5,000, we believe it will pull back to 2,500. That's a 50% retracement. That's been built into the markets ever since since they began. You get an impulse move, which is what this huge move this year was on Bitcoin, and so you get a retracement, and then you build another leg. I mean, so we'll see. We'll see what comes out of it all. Tesla's unveiling their electric semi-truck, which what's his name? Elon Musk. He says it's a beast and that everybody should come out and see it. But it'll only go about 300 to 400 miles on a charge.
Yeah, but you know, that might be very handy for a lot of short distance delivery type things for trucks, you know. So there's probably a pretty big market there. Incidentally, I forgot to mention, you know, when we talked about Apple earlier on, the thing that I've got a feeling is could be a winner is this the Apple TV. That Apple TV, which is a 4K, based on the prices, they haven't said how big the screens are, but
well, it's not an actual TV, is it? Because I have Apple TV and it's just a little
no. They're talking about an actual Apple TV with a very high res screen, 4K, and at least that's what I think. I may be wrong on this, but if it is a TV and based on the prices they were quoting, it would be undercutting most other TVs in the market.
Well, the Apple TV I'm looking at, 4th generation, is a little hockey puck device like I have. Now, it's been rumored for a long time that they were going to come out with an actual TV, and when I go to this, I just click the page, TV 4K, now playing. Okay, models and pricing. Let's go see what that says. Yeah, it's the little hockey puck, and it gives you 4K, I guess, over. But it's been rumored for a long time that they were going to actually produce a TV. But I don't see it
Maybe
on
maybe,
this Apple
maybe this is a
website.
4K maybe a 4K device for use with 4K screens. With
Yeah, it's a
regular
4K
screens.
box, and I have the like original, you know, first generation Apple TV hockey puck, and I mean it's good for watching.
Yeah, because it got a 32 gigabyte model and a 64 gigabyte model, so that's pretty powerful.
Well, the thing is I don't store anything on it. We just use it to stream Netflix, I think it is. And I guess there's more channels and apps available now than the first generation, but that's all we use it for. The first generation. It only cost $99. But the 4K, I think the price has gone up to $150 or something. But the watch that you can make phone calls with without having your phone in your pocket, you've only got an hour of talk time without the phone. They revealed that on Tuesday, and they've also got, it's now wireless charging, but if you want to fast charge any of the new iPhones, you'll need accessories to use the fast charging feature. Specifically, you'll need to buy Apple's $49 power adapter. Now, I have a USB. My wife does product reviews for different companies, and this it's a USB hub, and it will charge my iPhone in about 30 minutes. It's from a company called iClever, and she wrote a review for them, and I got to keep this. But anywhere else in my house, if I plug my iPhone in, it takes it an hour, you know, to go from 0 to a full charge. But it's under 30 minutes when I plug it into this little device. I don't know how it does that, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I want to put out an alert here.
Okay.
What we were saying about the gold and silver earlier on, starting to break out to new highs on the day here, towards new highs on the day, and the gold stocks are starting to look pretty good.
1332. We need to get above that, and then our next weekly trading zone overhead is 3637.
Right. The nugs and the dusts and the golds are looking good. So we'd be selling the dusts as well now, and doubling up on the metals here, because I think this is it. You know, the market's kind of a little bit sneaky today. It's kind of starting to. It's not. You know, it's just a pullback at the moment, but the Nasdaq's definitely weaker. It's weird because the semiconductors are so strong, and yet the Nasdaq's weak. I think it's mainly being dragged down by the drug stocks, and actually the FANGs and the price lines and things are not acting very well. The Googles and all of them are kind of coming off a bit here. So
you know, a lot of Google, from YouTube to search, everything went down the other day. Different places all over the world. They finally got it fixed, but I haven't seen an article as to what the problem was.
Okie doke.
All right,
well,
John.
listen, thanks for the invite.
Thank you so much for everything, and we will talk with you again tomorrow.
All right, much obliged. Thanks. Have a great afternoon.
You too.
Bye.
Take care. Okay, guys, these are the weekly trading zones on gold, and as you can see, let's go back to Sunday night. Here's the Globex open, yellow arrow. We came down to the zone and consolidated. We came down to the zone below and consolidated. And we hung around that zone for quite a while. Popped to the next zone. Look at that wick sticking up above the zone. And then we hugged the zone. And then we didn't quite make it to the zone below there. Zones are an area. And here, this 30-minute candle spiked zone to zone. And for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, we've been consolidating inside of the 29.30 zone. Now, all of our zones go out to the partners Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. We've been publishing the zones since December 14th of 2009. And if you go on Google and Google CFRN Weekly Trading Zones, you can read a bunch of articles that I've written over the years. And if you click on images, you can see charts going back, some of them I think to 2009. And price does the same thing now that it's always done. It consolidates at the zone, goes to the zone. The most likely thing to happen is consolidation, like this. Second most likely thing is rejection. I think I have an example of rejection here. Not true rejection. And the third least likely thing to happen is hot knife through butter. It just slices it like that. But when it slices it, it will almost always come back to the zone where it was supposed to consolidate and then continue on in the direction of the slice, whether it was up or down. We could call that rejection. The price came down, touched it, and just whoosh. So there, in this chart, you've got consolidation, you've got rejection. Again, consolidation is most likely. Number 2 is rejection. And number 3, slices through it like it isn't even there, but then comes back to touch it before it continues in the same direction. And we've seen that repeated just again and again and again over the years. Okay, S&P 500 E-mini did not trigger long or short. Just been very little movement there. On the Dow, let's have a look at that. Oh, and if you want to take a screenshot of last night's alerts, here you go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right, on the Dow, we were looking to buy 22,130. $22,130, and we put in a swing high at 73, so 43 points. Of course, we were looking for it to go to the zone overhead, but zones are an area. Sometimes it'll come down and touch it to the tick like this. And now, there's no guarantee that this is a miss. This could be leg, retrace, and then we could still go up and tag that zone. On the sell side, there was no trigger for the Dow. November soybeans. Oh, whatever this chart. Okay, November soybeans. We wanted to buy 965 per last night's email. There you go, 965. And put in a high at 978. So that's 13 points. Times $50 per point. Soybeans pay exactly the same as the S&P. $50 a point. It's 4 ticks to a point. $12.50 per tick. Again, the number was by 965. And as you know, important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So we get this first push up, come back to the trigger, and then again, off we run. Okay. Not a lot of risk. On the Concierge Trade Alerts, you get 8 markets every night, 2 trades per market. On most of the markets, you will see multiple triggers per day. So you got 8 times 2, 16, and then when you get into multiple triggers, you could have more opportunities in a day than you can shake a stick at, which allows you to become very selective, and you wait for the opportunity where you have literally no risk and trail your stop. It requires patience. You don't just jump on every single trade that triggers. You don't set it and forget it. Bonds. What have bonds done for us lately? Not much. By 155.07, and we put in a high at 08. Okay. Now at 31.25 per tick, 32 ticks to a point on a 30-minute chart, your stop would have had to be way down here. So that would be a walk away. That's not a trade that you would actually take. On the sell side, 154.21. Your stop would have needed to be that would have put you over the $300 threshold. We don't like to risk more than $300 on any one trade. Now, this is discretionary trading, which is completely different from the rules-based trading that we do every day in the live training room. Gold, last night's email said to consider buying $49.50, and we ran up $1,000 per contract, from $49.50 to $50.50. We never get out at the swing high or swing low because we trail our stop. When you trail your stop, that means you're almost always going to leave. You will always leave at least a little something on the table. Okay. Now leg, a nice doji there. Push it back down. Retracement. Let's just see from the swing low to the swing high. We came down. That's nice. Doji, and we come down 38% retracement. Put in a doji that touches the 50% retracement, and now we're pushing back up to this zone. If we can get on the other side of the zone, then we got to take out this high if we're going to see any higher prices. The next zone overhead for this week on crude would be the highest weekly zone at 51.90. Now, with only one more trading day to go and no news, I don't think we'll see that highest weekly zone. This may be it for the week. But look at all the hours. Now again, every CFRN partner had this information Monday morning before Wall Street woke up at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours that we consolidate inside of a 5-tick range. We do have traders that just simply trade the zones. The majority use it as a backdrop to their trading. This was a great week for the zones in crude. Okay. So we'll see. Now, okay, we had a leg and a retracement, and now we need another leg that puts in a higher high. If, however, leg retrace, if this now takes out the low of this candle, instead of a retracement, we have a reversal on our hands. Okay? keep that in mind if you're following crude today. Okay, we've looked at gold, crude, the NQ. Okay. NQ, last night's email said to consider selling 59.94. Okay. And from 94, well, before this pullback, we dropped to $77. Call it 78. 94 to 78. So that's 16 points times $20 per point. Now, if you wrote out the retracement, it dropped all the way to 59.70, which would be 20 points times $20 a point. On the long side of the NQ, we're looking to buy 60.08 given the opportunity, and we didn't get it. Now, what I said about important prices, important areas almost always being tested, you see we get this first move down, we get back above the trigger, and then we get a second move down. And this move takes us from 94 down to 79, call it 80. That's 15 points times $20 a point, or $300 per contract available. Okay, we've done gold, we've done crude, we've done the NQ, we've done everything but the Russell. And the Russell had very little movement. We were looking to be buyers at 14.31. That never happened. And sellers at 14.23. So we put in a low at 21.10. So not a lot there. Crude, the big winner of the day. Is ES still asleep? Pretty much. Now, if we can take out this low, good chance we get a move down to test. Note, see these lows here. Just follow the horizontal line on the cursor. See? That's potentially good support. If that breaks, then we should go down to the next zone at 81.82. Just been bumping our head up against the ceiling for 3 days now. Okay, good word for the day. Stick with it. James 5:11 says we praise the ones who endured the most. Observe these 6 things about persistence. Number 1, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Number 2, first 2 letters in the word goal, G-O-A-L, are go, G-O. Number 3, some people dream of doing great things. Others wake up and actually do them. Number 4, anybody who brags about what they're going to do tomorrow probably did the same thing yesterday. Number 5, you'll never be what you ought to be until you're doing what you ought to be doing. And number 6, if you're having trouble thinking outside the box, it's time to get out of the box. When Lester Wunderman was fired from his advertising job, he felt he still had a lot to learn from the head of the agency, Max Sackheim. So the next morning he went back to his office and continued working as he always had, talking to coworkers and clients and sitting in on meetings, all without pay. Sackheim ignored him for a month. Finally he walked up to Wunderman and said, "Okay, you win. I never saw a man who wanted a job more than he wanted money." So guess what? Wunderman went on to be one of the most successful advertising men of the century. He's credited with having invented pre-printed newspaper inserts, plus subscription cards like those used by Time Life Books and the Columbia Record Club, ideas that produced millions of dollars in profit. Now, advertising may not be your thing, but action must be. What are you willing to do to achieve your dream? Work without pay, refuse to quit. Success belongs to those who trust God and stick with it. James 5:11, we praise the ones who endured the most. Reminder, tonight is our partners meeting, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you're a partner, your invitation will come out to you this afternoon. Just check your inbox before you come to the meeting and you'll have your link. If you've been on the trial or you've been attending the open house and you want to be in the partners meeting tonight, you do need to be a partner. You should have received an email that tells you how to become a partner. If you didn't get it, send us an email, support@cfrn.net. We'll send you out everything you need so that you can be in that meeting tonight. Support@cfrn.net, or you can call 949-423-6464. 949-42-EMINI. And if you haven't taken the trial and you want to come spend some time in our live training room, use our indicators, we can even hook you up with a platform, we'll teach you the strategy, you'll be able to trade in the simulator for a whole week with us. All you got to do is go to apply.cfrn.net or just go to our home page. Name, email address, that's all we need, and you can begin your trial tomorrow. But tomorrow is Friday, and that's okay because you get 5 consecutive trading days. So whether you start on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, or a Friday, it doesn't matter. You get 5 consecutive trading days. All right? It's going to do it for this Thursday, the 14th day of September 2017. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, and may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.